Today we're talking about something that might feel heavy. Forgiveness after narcissistic abuse. And I know you might be thinking, how can I forgive them? Why do they just get to go on with their lives while I'm here trying to pick up the pieces? I'm not ready to forgive. They don't deserve it. And honestly, I don't even want to forgive. That's like letting them win. But what if I told you that forgiveness is not about them at all? It's about you, your peace, your freedom, and your healing. In this episode, I'm going to break down what forgiveness is not, what it actually is, and why it's one of the most powerful steps you can take in your healing journey. I'll also walk you through 5 simple steps to forgiveness at your pace so that you can finally release the emotional weight you've been carrying and step into the peace and freedom that God has waiting for you. So grab your journal and your notebook, take a deep breath, let's dive in. Do you want to heal from narcissistic abuse, but you struggle with self-doubt and second-guessing everything? If so, you're in the right place. I'm Takia, mom, coach, and your survivor friend. Here we mix faith, real talk, and practical tools to restore confidence and self-worth. So if you're ready to rebuild your confidence and finally feel at peace, take a deep breath. Exhale now. Let's heal for real. Coming into the realization that I experienced narcissistic abuse was not just hurtful. I was angry. And I mean angry to the point where I just wanted that person to suffer in the worst way possible. I would imagine going to his funeral and looking into the casket just to make sure that he was really dead. And I'm not someone who likes funerals, much less looking at dead people. But I had an outfit picked out and I had the day planned out in my mind. Whenever I heard his name or saw him, I would lose my appetite. My entire body would just tense up, and inwardly, I would be infuriated. I would feel the heat just rushing to my brain. There were times where I would be just replaying everything in my mind, thinking of all the scenarios, questioning, and the anger would just hit hard on another level. Sometimes so hard that my head and my heart would hurt. And when I speak about my heart hurting, I'm not saying that in a metaphorical sense. My heart would prick me. I would actually have to stop whatever I was doing just to give my heart time to settle down, to try to take some deep breaths. Really attempt to take some deep breaths, because even breathing in those moments were difficult because the pain in my heart would be excruciating. And I would be wondering, am I having a heart attack? I was honestly filled with a lot of anger, resentment, bitterness, and some days it impacted my ability to function properly. So on those days I would just have to lay in bed. And not like that helped, because laying in bed, I would go into my mind and be just thinking all types of things. And it will make me even angrier. Now, I was already on my journey with God, my healing journey, but it was as if something was stopping it. And that something was unforgiveness. The thing is, I knew that I had to forgive, but I didn't want to. I felt as if me forgiving was letting him off the hook, and as if everything he did was okay. And I was quite confused, really, because my question to God was, you're the person that revealed to me what happened. Why do you expect me to forgive some person like this for what they have done? That does not make any sense. I want justice. I don't just want him to hurt. I need him to be removed from the face of the earth. That's the only justice I can have. So there were times, I kept all these things inside. It was really just between me and God. I would never tell anyone, what I was experiencing, because I knew the feelings and thoughts that I was having towards this person. They were not good. But I openly admitted that to God, like, hey, God, I know what I'm thinking is not right. I know it's not good for me to want this man to get COVID and go down there in the hospital and just cock up and die. I know that, Lord, but I just can't forgive. I can't do it. There were times that my mother would pray with me and she'd be praying for him. And I would be furious. She would be saying things like, oh, Lord, we don't want anything bad to happen to him. We're not praying for anything bad to happen to him. Just lead him to repentance. And I would be there like, excuse me, God. I don't know what she's talking about. Don't listen to her. I'm going to need you to take him off the face of this earth. Please kill him. Thank you very much. That's what I would be thinking while she's over here, in my mind talking all of this foolishness. But God had mercy on me. He understood my pain. And though the messages were coming, Takia, you need to forgive. Forgive him. He gently began to also teach me the truth about what forgiveness really means. Because I had these weird concepts in my mind. And as he began to teach me, it took me on a journey where I could truly forgive what I thought was unforgivable. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to start with addressing what forgiveness is not. Because I think that many survivors avoid forgiveness because of the misconception of forgiveness, especially in the Christian arena. We hear things like, you have to forgive. And I mean, that is true. Jesus did teach us we need to forgive, but, we tend to put a blanket on it and not give room for proper processing. And even the way that things are explained, it kind of pushes the blame onto the victim and all of these strange expectations. So I want to dive into address three of the most common misconceptions that I had. The first one, I want to say that forgiveness does not mean you are excusing or minimizing the abuse. And that's what I thought. Oh God, if I forgive him, it means that what he did was okay. So when you're forgiving, you're not just saying, oh, it was fine. You're not saying it didn't matter. You're not downplaying it. That's not what forgiveness is. Secondly, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. And this is huge. I personally thought and was even told by people, if you don't reconcile to this person, it means that you have not forgiven. And that thing gave me hell. Seriously. And God had to teach me forgiveness does not automatically mean reconciliation. I actually said to God, if I have to be reconciled to that person, I guess I'm going to have to be lost forever because I'm not willing to do that. Reconciliation requires two repentant people who are willing to take accountability and work on what needs to be worked on. But forgiveness only requires one, and that is you. So hear this. Forgiveness takes one, reconciliation takes two. And because narcissists do not take accountability, reconciliation for the most part is not necessary, but it can also be unsafe because you are putting yourself in danger of continuing on a cycle that breaks you down, not just from an emotional and psychological standpoint, but from a physical, a health standpoint. The third thing is forgiveness does not mean forgetting or denying the harm. I would feel so bad when I would say, oh, I forgive, and I wasn't able to forget what happened. But that's a misconception that because you forgive, it means that you forget. You can't forgive what you refuse to face, and you cannot heal what you refuse to name. This is not about forgetting. Forgiveness is not about pretending that the abuse didn't happen. It's not about erasing your memory. So what is forgiveness? Imagine someone owes you a large sum of money. You try to get it back. You call them, you explain yourself, Why you need this money. You repeat the same conversations. You confront them. You want acknowledgement. You want the debt cleared. You want your money. And every single attempt that you make actually keeps you tied to them. And that is what unforgiveness does with a narcissist. You're trying to collect the debt that is owed to you emotionally. Oh, if I just explain one more time, if they just understood how they hurt me, if they would just admit, if I could make them see, if I could get others to understand what happened and see how bad it really was. All these thoughts. But the truth is, and it's a hard truth, narcissists can't pay you back. They can't give you empathy. They can't give you accountability. They can't give you healthy remorse. They don't have the capacity nor the willingness. So what do? You have to write off the debt. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness is saying, God, I'm releasing this debt to you. You can deal with what I can't. And as you forgive, you are untying your soul from a person who was never safe. And it breaks the emotional, spiritual, and psychological cord that kept you connected to them. Because here's something that I discovered. Even when I was not physically around the narcissist, he still had an emotional control over me. Because as I was thinking back over these situations, I was being affected. So forgiveness helps to break those cords that keep you tied. Forgiveness is about choosing your healing over their power and control. So why does forgiveness free you, not necessarily them? So here's what forgiveness actually does for you. It heals your emotions. The bitterness, the resentment, all the rumination finally begin to loosen their grip. It improves your mental health. Anxiety decreases, stress reduces, your nervous system can actually get into a space where it can calm down and your mind feels clearer. Physically, you may experience changes such as your blood pressure not being so high, it stabilizes and your sleep improves. Forgiveness also restores your relationship with God. Now, unforgiveness blocks that emotional intimacy with Him because your heart stays entangled in pain. But forgiveness opens up the space for His healing and His peace to flow again. And forgiveness empowers you. Forgiveness shifts your focus from the narcissist back to you, back to your growth, back to dreaming with God about your future, back to the life that God is wanting to build with you. And forgiveness is not letting them off the hook. It is taking you off the hook that they kept you on. So here are 5 simple steps to forgiveness at your own pace. Step 1, be completely honest. And I think that this is super important because as Christians, we tend to love to just pretend as if hurt does not exist. We like to spiritualize everything. Oh, God is good all the time. God is a healer. Yes, He's good. Yes, He's a healer. But what is He healing? We have to be completely honest about what happened, how it impacted us, the emotions that came up. Because you can't release what you refuse to acknowledge. So name the emotions. Be real, be raw with God. I remember at a point in time I was like, God, I hate Him. I don't want to hate Him, but I hate Him. I want Him dead. That's honest, because when you are completely honest, God is not looking for masks and all this pretense. He wants vulnerability. He wants honesty, because then He can meet you exactly where you are and start to unpack some things and really heal it, right? So that's step 1, be completely honest. Step 2, make the decision. Forgiveness is a choice. It is not a feeling. Believe me, if you wait to feel forgiveness, you'll be waiting for eternity. So forgiveness is something that you choose, even when you don't feel like it yet. And, when the emotions come up to make you feel like, I don't want to, or I haven't, remind yourself, you know what? I choose to forgive. And whenever something comes up, I'm going to choose to keep forgiving. Number 3, release them to God. This is where the emotional unshackling happens. You're handing the debt to the only one who can judge righteously and heal completely. Step 4, ask God to heal you. My favorite verse is Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. And I often tell God, Lord, please make the pain like it never happened. And there are some areas I can truly look back now and see that God has answered that prayer. I don't know when it was answered, but there's some things that before I would not be able to think about without breaking down, crying. And now it doesn't bother me. So God is a healer. He will heal you from all the wounds that they left behind. And step number 5, this is something in faith. Thank Him. Because gratitude creates a shift. You move your focus from what has happened to possibility. And not just possibility, real reality as you continue walking out the process with God. You're shifting from the pain to peace and from bondage to freedom. So friends, what we talked about today is big. And I want you to take this away. You don't have to pretend that what happened didn't hurt. You don't have to excuse it. You don't have to reconcile. And you definitely do not have to forget. Forgiveness in the context of narcissistic abuse is not about restoring the relationship or pretending as if the wound is insignificant. It's about releasing the debt that the narcissist will never repay and never had the capacity to repay in the first place. Forgiveness is not about doing favors to them. It is about freedom for you. It unhooks your heart from waiting for something that will never come. It opens the door for God to step in and do what only He can do, which is bring full healing and restore your peace. And if that feels scary or overwhelming, or you feel like you're not ready, that's okay, because this is a process. This is a decision that you return to, not some wave of emotion that you wait for. So every time you choose to release the situation back to God, every time you refuse to rehearse the pain again, every time you stop chasing the apology that you rightfully deserve, every time you stop trying to make people understand or get it, you are reclaiming your power, your mental clarity, and your emotional freedom. So as you go into the rest of the day, I just want you to hold on to this truth. Forgiveness is not about going back. It's about moving forward, lighter, freer, and more grounded in the woman that God is rebuilding you to be. So let God handle the justice. Let Him handle what you cannot. Your job is to release them and heal. Hi friends! I hope today's episode taught you something and gave you a boost. If it did, would you take a couple seconds and share with someone who's ready to heal from narcissistic abuse? And while you're at it, could you please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts? It really thrills me to know that other women are being helped. Now go ahead, stretch or grab that snack. I'll see you in our next episode.